Welcome to everyone. This week video will cover the Bitcoin market for the week of November 10, 2025. Before we start, make sure you read carefully the disclaimer. During my September 29th update, I was expecting the 18-month cycle peak to form in September. After the video publication, the Bitcoin market rallied to form a new all-time high at $126,272 on October 6. With the recent market action, we can confirm the October 6th high is the 18-month cycle peak. Let's see what we can expect for the Bitcoin market for the next few months. As usually, let's start by the 18-month cycle. Knowing the $126,272 high is the 18-month cycle peak, we can expect the 18-month cycle low will form on his cycle line, or FLD, around $85,000, which will align with the 18-month trend line, or VTL. The time target still in February 2026. Despite the decline since the $126,272 October 6th high, on the long-term basis the Bitcoin market still in bullish mood. The Bitcoin market still trading above his cycle line and his 18-month cycle trend line, the VTL. A sharp cross below it will be very bearish for the Bitcoin market, and will confirm the peak before the crossing will be at least a 54-month cycle or 4.5 years cycle peak. The $98,898 November low found support on his cycle line. On a very short-term basis, we can expect a rally before the market will resume his decline. We will have a better picture by analyzing the shorter cycles. Let's see now the 40-week cycle. We have to move the 40-week cycle peak from the August 14th to the $126,272 October 6th new all-time high. Since the formation of this high, the Bitcoin market start his correction, and last week found support on his cycle line. The low for this 40-week cycle is still expected in January 2026, represented by the blue vertical dashed line. Technically, the Bitcoin market should cross below his cycle line, providing a potential downside target. On this table, you will find the cycle line and their potential target if the Bitcoin market cross below his cycle line during the next few weeks. The blue trend line is the 40-week VTL. We have to watch carefully the Bitcoin market reaction when he will approach it. The $125,882 upside target, triggered during the first week of May, was met during the October 6th peak formation. With two trading signal on this 40-week cycle, one positive in May and one negative in March. The success rate for this cycle is 50%. Let's see now the next lower cycle, the 20-week. The previous 20-week cycle low occurred on the week of September 1st, with a $107,220 low. At the time of this low formation, the Bitcoin found support on his cycle line. During the third week of October, the Bitcoin market crossed below his cycle line at $115,774, providing a potential $105,276 downside target. $10,498 or 9.06% of potential profit. On the same week, the Bitcoin market met his target, then rally finding resistance on his cycle line before resuming his decline. On his way to form the next and last 20-week cycle of this 18-month cycle. This week, I will add the 18-month roadmap. For the 18-month roadmap, we have to use the 20-week cycle line. This roadmap will help to understand how the cycles works. The point 0 is the last 18-month cycle low. The blue line represent the Bitcoin price when three combined cycles, like the 20, 40-week and 18-month, this represent the ideal shape of the prices in balance market. The red dashed line is the 20-week cycle line, or FLD. For more detail about the roadmap, or to know how to build the cycle line, I recommend to visit my website, tradingmarketcycles.com, where I have different articles explaining in great details how cycles works. Let's come back to the roadmap. The point 0 on the bottom left is where the last 18-month cycle formed his low. After forming a 54,014 low on August 5, 2024, the market crossed above his 20-week cycle line, or FLD, at 64,584, providing a potential 75,154 upside target. The Bitcoin market formed his first 20-week cycle peak in December 2024. With a 108,364 high, meeting and even exceeding his target by more than 44%, which was a very bullish sign. The Bitcoin declined on his way to form his first 20-week cycle low. At the first 20-week low formation, technically the Bitcoin market should find support on his cycle line before bouncing back on his way to the 40-week cycle peak. The Bitcoin market was so bullish as explained in my past update. He formed his first low well above his cycle line at 89,164. Then bounced back to form his 40-week peak on January 2025 at 109,356. After forming his second 20-week peak, the market usually crossed back below his cycle line, providing a downside target. The crossing happened at 96,500 for a 83,644 target. On April 7, the Bitcoin formed a 74,434 low, exceeding his target. Technically, after the second 40-week low, in balance market, the Bitcoin should cross back above his cycle line, providing the last upside target for the all cycle. The Bitcoin crossed his cycle line at 96,117 for a 117,800 target. On October 6, the Bitcoin made a 126,272 historic new high, again exceeding his target. This peak is also the 18-month cycle peak. After this major peak, the Bitcoin crossed below his cycle line at 115,774, providing a downside 105,276 target. On October 17, the Bitcoin made a 103,530 low, little bit more than $1,700 below his target. Then, as expected, the market rebounded toward his cycle line at 116,381. Without crossing above, using them as resistance. Then resume his decline on his way to his last 20-week cycle low, completing the 18-month cycle. A roadmap can be built for any cycle length from the 10-day to the 18-month cycle, even with longer cycles. With 3 positive trading signal, the 20-week cycle maintained 100% success rate. The 80-day cycle. During my last September update, the 80-day cycle peak was expected on October 4th. With $126,272 high on October 6th, the market formed his peak only 2 days later than expected. Let's go back for a moment to the last 80-day cycle low on September 1st. I mentioned in the same update, after forming his second 80-day cycle, the market should cross back above his cycle line and provide a new upside target. As expected, the October 1st, the Bitcoin crossed above his cycle line at $115,761 for a $124,252 potential upside target. The target was met on October 5th, 1 day before officially forming his third 80-day cycle peak. For the third and fourth cycle, the market should cross below his cycle line and stay below until the 80-day cycle is completed. On October 16th, the market crossed below his cycle line at $112,471 for a $98,666 target. With a $98,898 low on November 4th, the Bitcoin met his target. Since the last 80-day cycle, 65 days have passed, there is a high probability that November 4th was the third 80-day cycle low. This low was expected to form on November 9th. If this correct, the low formed 5 days early. What next for the fourth 80-day cycle? We can expect the market to rebound toward his cycle line and use it as resistance before resuming his decline. On his way to form the fourth and last 80-day cycle of the second 40-week cycle of the 18-month cycle. If the Bitcoin market follow the Hearst nominal model, we can expect the low to form on January 10, 2026, the vertical purple dashed line. When the Bitcoin will cross back above his cycle line, we will have the confirmation of the 80-day cycle low is formed. The purple uptrend is the 80-day cycle or VTL. By crossing below it, the Bitcoin confirmed the October 6th high is the 80-day, 20 and 40-week, and the 18-month peak. This year with 8 trading signal, 7 positives and 1 negative, the success rate is 87.50%. The 40-day cycle. We can label the October 10th low as the 40-day cycle low. The next low was expected for the November 13th, if the November 4th is the 80-day cycle low. Then by the Hurst rule of synchronicity, it will also be the 40-day low. Let's assume this statement is correct, then we can expect the next 40-day low for the November 21st. Of course, if the 80-day low is not formed yet, we will add 34 days to this low to have the next 40 cycle time target. The October 2nd, the Bitcoin market meet his $121,003 target, triggered on September 11th when the market crossed above his cycle line. The target has been met 4 days before the October 6th new all-time high. On October 10th, the Bitcoin crossed below his cycle line at $116,325 for a $106,378 downside target. With a $103,530 low on October 17th, the Bitcoin market meet and exceed his target. With 9 positive trading signal out of 10 since the beginning of the year, the success rate of the 40-day cycle is 90%. In conclusion, the Bitcoin cyclical analysis confirms the October 6th peak at $126,272 as a significant turning point across multiple timeframes. The market's consistent interaction with cycle lines and achievement of projected targets demonstrates the reliability of these analytical tools. With success rates ranging from 50% to 100% across different cycle lengths, traders have valuable frameworks for anticipating future price movements. As Bitcoin navigates toward the projected February 2026 low around $85,000, monitoring cycle line crosses and VTL interactions remains crucial for timing entries and exits in this dynamic market. For more details, visit tradingmarketcycles.com. If you found this helpful, please like and share this video, subscribe to stay updated with my weekly trading insights. Thanks for watching, see you next week.